Tonight, on episode 102 of Jabber Jawn, we go down the hallway to the cold case files, pulling the old cardboard boxes out to take a second look at some of the cases that have haunted the department for years. The frayed length of rope, the missing chemist, the overturned lantern, the suspicious voicemails, the blurry gas station security camera photos, the glass full of sour oat milk, the forced confessions. We will try our best to bring light to these cases using today's technology and advanced medical procedures. We, of course, will still rely on feet on the ground and bloodhounds, but with the use of drones and cell phone records, we may be able to bring justice to the forefront. As always, there's a $5,000 reward for any tips provided by you, our viewers, that lead to prosecution and conviction. We would like to thank our sponsors, the great band The Fall. As they so eloquently stated, we are the Fall and we are the best. Mark E. Smith never committed a crime he didn't admit to. Enjoy the show if you can.
Frog sitting on a log, one of them fell in. One frog said to the other frog, well, you better go get her. Two little frogs sitting on a log, one of them fell in. Last little frog, he said and thought, good thing they can swim. Jabber Jawn.
Margie says, I admit that's all
Jabber
me,
Jawn.
I get the $5,000.
Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Three little frogs sitting on a log, one burst into a grin. One frog said to the other frog, wonder what's got into him. Two little frogs sitting on a log, one laughed until he is red. Last little frog, he sat and thought, must have been something I said. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn.
Jabber Jawn, Jabber Jawn, Jabber Jawn, Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. I say Jabber, you say John. Jabber. 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 Jabber Jawn. Welcome everybody to another episode of Jabber Jawn. It's episode 102. My name is Nathan Moore.
I'm Kyle Hogg. This is the professor. Why can't you talk?
He's trying to decide on his name.
My name is Stephen Moore.
Oh, you're just going to go with the regular.
No, I've never called myself Stephen in my life. This is the first time I've ever been. Stephen.
Oh,
Did you spell it?
it has a ring to it.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think I've ever called myself anything. I've just always been me and been in here and I talk about other people, but...
No, you've introduced yourself to people before.
Oh.
I'm
yeah.
me.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I wonder how people decide between the PH or the VEN.
Yeah, I always let them ask or just make up their own.
Yours is legally PH, right?
I'm legally PH, but when I say Steve Moore, I'm V.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
But some people do VEN, right?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of them. They're real weird people.
Technically, you might be Stefan.
Well, yeah.
And you've just been saying it wrong your
depends
whole
on
life.
what part of the country you're from.
Stefan.
I bet there are Stefans in certain parts of the world.
But a Stefan wouldn't necessarily be as shortened as Steve.
You know, if your name's Stefan, you can probably shoot a basketball pretty good.
Mm.
Stefan.
Could you? That's one sport you never played, right?
I played,
Oh,
but
in high school?
I played basketball, but I played it like I played football. I would take me about 3.5 minutes to foul out. I never played organized.
Coach would send you in very strategically.
Yeah.
Well, we usually start with an arriving song and end with a leaving song, so let's see here. Catherine's dad is Stephen as well, or Stefan. He's P-H-E-N.
There you go. Yeah. I respect Stephens a lot more than I do Stevens with a V. That's just a personal prejudice.
Lazy. I can't put the TH.
Poor little me. Poor little me. I got time, all I need. Got good friends, keep me company. Poor little me. Poor little me. Poor little me. Got enough money, plenty to eat. Got a nice home, a warm bed to sleep. Poor little me. Ain't no one gonna cry for me. This is not what they call trouble. This is not what they call strife. It's called a heavy heart as far as anyone can see. I'm living the good life. Poor little me, poor little me. I got 2 hands, got 2 feet, got a strong constitution. Guess I got good genes. Poor little me. Ain't no one gonna cry for me. This is not what they call trouble. This is not what they call strife. It's called a heavy heart as far as anyone can see. I'm living the good life. Poor little me. Poor little me. I got 2 eyes and I can see all around me. So much beauty. Poor little me. Poor little me. I never really thought about it much before, but just singing that song, I realized we have 2 of a lot of things. 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 eyes. What's that all about, Mr. Scientist? Why don't we have 3 of things?
Because it's the symmetry of it. It's the pairing, like a opening of something of a book where it just turns to one and the other. So the gametes and the genes and all those are paired. Male, female, boing, boing, it's all paired and chromosomes line up. So there's a lot of pairing going on.
Pairing.
Yeah, it's a symbolism of Noah's Ark.
They functionally work a lot better that way. You got stereo sound, you got 2 eyes better than 1.
Yeah, it's interesting the things you only have one of.
One mouth.
There's a lot of people that like a lot of men only have one penis. That's what I've
Poor
heard.
things.
Poor little them.
Poor little them. Hope you gave yourself a laugh
so come
on
on
that.
down to Dixon Ducks on Spring Hill Road. Corey, I'm sorry I stole your joke there.
It's right next door to the Silly Goose.
It's in the back, actually.
Well, yeah. Up 2 flights of stairs and you'll find it.
I'll tell you what, I drove by that place the other day. Oh, Liz Bunny's calling. Should we just take her call in the air?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hi, dear.
Hey there, you're live on the Jabber John show.
Oh, Jabba John. Hi, Seymour.
Hi, here.
Liz.
Hi, little bunny. How are you?
Is it Kevin? Is that who else you do with, Kevin?
Kyle.
Kyle.
Kyle, say hey to Liz. You guys would love each other.
But it's spelled with a PH, so it sounds like Kevin when you say it.
That's file. Well, I'll let you guys get to it. I forgot y'all had that tonight. So, what, you want to call me after Nathan? And we'll
Sound.
Hi, Sierra.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
Woo!
Okay.
Awesome.
All righty. Hi,
So good to
Sierra.
hear your voice.
It's great to hear.
Good to hear your voice, dear.
What do you talk about on Jabberjaw right now?
Well, we really just got started. We spent a little while talking about how Dad spells his name, and then we were just veering into the little store we're gonna open up down next to the park to sell food for the ducks and homemade ice cream.
For real?
Yeah, I mean, what's for real?
I know how to make ice cream. I can help you with that one.
See, there we go.
There we
it's
go.
it's happening as far as I can tell.
You're our new
You could
sponsor.
make like duck ice cream. You could have like sesame ice cream. They're like, sunflower seed ice cream.
Ooh, for the ducks.
Oh, we're talking. We're
Oh,
talking.
yeah.
We'll have our people get in touch with yours.
Okay. All right, guys. Have a fun show.
Okay, bye.
Bye
Later,
bye.
gators.
Thanks to our new sponsor, Liz Bunny, for calling in.
Thank you, Liz.
But yeah, I rode by that place the other day, and boy, the dreams are just. Whew, the place could really be nice.
Like,
I like the there's quite a few places that have converted old garages into places, and they can be really nice because you open those big bay doors and on a nice summer day, just a nice. Klein's
Yep.
sort of like has a little bit of that vibe, and Ciderworks, where I just played on Saturday night, looked like it used to be a garage. Didn't have those big bay doors, and
very cool.
yeah, there's a lot of potential there. It's so strange that building is just sitting there, desolate with grand opening signs. Like they've just been there for years.
Yeah.
It's just grand opening.
Too strange.
It's a whole thing. The Silly Goose.
We should just show up there like once a week, same day,
And
to
sell stuff.
celebrate like a grand opening. That's actually not happening.
Just with balloons.
Yeah, just show it.
Give
We're
it out
here.
hot dogs and cokes.
Tell more and more people every time, bring grills and grill out.
You're right. Just tailgate it.
What is this? Come on over. You're
Grand
invited. It's
opening.
open to the public. It's our grand opening. Or it's their grand opening.
Or we'll just call the place Grand Opening.
They should be
It's
here.
just a perpetual.
They should be here any minute. We're waiting.
We already got the signage.
One thing I wanted to say something that was very important
So
to me at least. You remember how I told you? Well, I got a lot of socks, like Christmas gifts and stuff. So I get socks all the time. So I don't wear some of them very much. But a couple weeks ago I said my dream would be that I could fix stuff. So I found a pair of socks that somebody got me. They told me they got them from Maid. And it's this guy with a saw, and it says on it, Mr. Fix It. So my dream has partially come true with my socks.
you have Mr. Fix-It socks?
Hey, that's the first step.
I know, the confidence to look down. Instead of looking down dejected, I look down and go, I am Mr. Fix It.
Yep.
Let me get to
Believing in
it.
yourself.
We should just call you that from now on. There he is. Here comes Mr. Fix-It.
I put them
Are
on.
you wearing them now?
No, but the funny thing, I put them on last week and they didn't pay attention. Then a day later, I was taking them off. It's like, oh my God, they say Mr. Fix It on it.
You have a pair of socks that says Mr. Fix It.
Yeah.
And
And my
you-
dream was to
and
be
you
able to
told
fix
that to the,
No,
to
no.
the general public just
I
now.
know.
Boy, you have a weird life, son.
It's Kyle, spelled with a PH, also known as Mr. Fix-It, at your service.
My name's Kyle, but you can just call me Mr. Fix It.
And we give you a free pair of socks with every service call.
He just comes and whatever it is, he just shakes it and blows on it.
Hey, not whatever it is. Not whatever it is. Come
Oh,
on.
sorry. We're back to the back room of the Silly
We're going back
Goose.
down to Dixon Ducks again. Come on, we got Mr. Fix It back there. Yeah.
I saw somebody in their laundry room had
I
this.
thought you were
had-
saying their lingerie.
Boy, that's quick. Isn't the brain an amazing thing?
Isn't it?
Before I got to the dree of laundry, he was like, "Oh my God, he's someone in lingerie!" Like that. It's how fast it happens. It's a remarkable thing. I appreciate that. That happens.
You were like, oh, and he lit up.
Yeah.
I saw somebody.
But they had this bag hanging up in there, and it just said "left socks" on it. Left socks.
But that means left behind sock.
It's great though, because it is that phenomenon where like a sock disappears. It always happens. Nobody understands what kind of Bermuda Triangle phenomenon is happening, but I just thought that was a great response to that situation. Or create a bag that says left socks, because it's just so funny. Because you're right, it's just your left behind socks or whatever, but it's also funny
Could be the left
because
sock.
you don't. I feel like I'm ruining the humor of it by wanting to over-explain
you
it.
did,
So I want to
but-
explain it to a child.
I think the humor left about 45
you
seconds
see,
ago.
son, there is no left sock.
It's a more visual joke. If y'all could just see the sign, you'd be busted out laughing.
But I guarantee you, 50% of the people watching the show right now are off to make a little bag that says left socks for their laundry room because it's funny.
Looking at their socks, like for the little L or the R, like what?
Right,
Been doing this
right,
wrong my
right.
whole life.
That I don't even know where I got these. You know the fitted sheets? I spend more time trying to get a fitted sheet on the long side and the short side than I do actually sleeping in bed. And I just noticed that one of my sheets says top and bottom. It's like, yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't have to.
That is
you know,
nice.
See, Mr. Fix It, at it again.
But because my bed's against the wall, so I have to crawl across the bed and put the one on, then crawl back across it, and that comes loose, and get it over, and then I realize I have it on sideways. And
I'm still trying to fold one of those.
Oh.
You know,
I've watched.
I got one up
videos.
there. I'm 3 years in and just still haven't got it.
There is a
quite
way to
figured
do
out.
it, I think.
Oh, there is a way to do it. But I'm really incapable of a lot of things. Like no matter how many times someone teaches me how to fold up a T-shirt, it still isn't quite right. I just can't quite do it right. Do you have a method? Do you have a way you fold your T-shirts?
Oh yeah, but it's not the same way everybody else does.
What's your way?
Most people I
do.
do.
Do we
most
need to
peop-
get a T-shirt?
Most people I know do that straight and they fold the arms back, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like that. I just take the arms and like hold the neck and pull the arms out and then fold the arms over, so it's not. It leaves a crease down the front, which doesn't look good.
Explains a lot.
Like my shirts, like my pants, a nice
Do
crease.
you have a method for folding your T-shirts?
Nothing like what I've been hearing.
Do you just put them on hangers?
I like to put things on hangers, definitely. But with, T-shirts never meant much to me because I just used them to play racket. I played sports in them and they were just go sweaty, and so they were, I didn't wear them like. When I think of T-shirts, that's what I think of. And
But-
those just fold and just turn over and rip at one time. But the next one might be totally different, just based on size and where they fit and how much room I've got. So I didn't have one way of doing it. No.
Yeah, it's sort of been one of those banes of my existence. I just try to pretend like I know what I'm doing. I grab it like right here and then fold the sleeves back and do a whole little move, and then.
See, that's a good way to do
But
it.
they're all sort of works, but it never looks like a professional did it. I just flashed on this memory of playing doubles tennis with Todd Carr in high school, and he was getting very frustrated with my inability to be good at the game because we were teammates. And at one point he just was like, just like look like you're good at it. Like, and it ended up being really great advice. Like just act like you know what you're doing and maybe you'll play better. Just like pretend you're good at this. Just picture yourself like you look like a goofball that doesn't know how to just picture like Federer or something, and just like try to emulate and just act like, and it became sort of profound advice that it comes up in my brain pretty often. Like, well, maybe if I just like.
It's basically the same advice as Mr. Fix-It saw.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Believe in yourself.
So I had a mouth surgery on Tuesday for my dental implant. So I've been a mess all week.
Well, how's it going?
You're still bleeding.
I have no way of knowing. I mean, it doesn't hurt and it's not bleeding, so I guess that's good.
I'd say that's real good.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, right? It's just like discomfort. My marching orders are so cryptic. Like everything is like all right, they do these things like avoid this for 3 to 7 days. 3 to 7 days.
Either this amount
Without
or double
any
it.
like elaboration on how you should gauge whether or not on day 3 you're good to go or not. Like I'm supposed to be on a soft diet should be maintained for 2 to 3 months over the surgical site. Now that's it.
Over the surgical.
A soft
That
diet.
just means don't chew on it. Mm-hmm. That's really all that's saying.
But a hard diet could happen on the other side?
Yeah, you could chew your meat on the right side and swallow it and not even go over there. I mean,
Why 2 to 3 months?
well, they want it to heal completely, I guess.
Right.
They think it might, if you came down real hard on it, it might re-break it and it's not set in with your muscle. Your muscle hadn't grown around it yet to support it, maybe. Mm-hmm. I just made that up.
Well,
it
it is like a whole bone grafting thing. Like they like even extracted blood from me in order to mix it in with the stuff so the bone would sort of organically become one with the thing they implanted.
No, is this a dentist or a surgeon, like a doctor?
It was a mouth surgeon. My dentist.
Well, there's your answer. It's got to take time to form all that bonding that's going on. Mm-hmm. So they want you not to come down with a hard piece of candy on it and break it. That makes a lot of good sense.
It does make a lot of good sense.
Have you picked out a tooth yet?
What's that?
Have you picked out a tooth yet?
No.
What are you gonna do?
I guess I could get creative with that.
Wait, you
I
don't
haven't
have
even
a
thought
tooth?
about
I
that.
would.
I mean, it's in the back, so no one would ever see it. So like it would be a waste of bling.
So what they put in now if they didn't put a tooth in?
Well, it's the thing the tooth will go on.
Okay.
And all right, so I want to preface this next little moment by saying that we have spent a lot of time on here extolling the virtues of people in the medical profession. I feel like we've done nothing but gush over how patient and loving and beautiful. Just our heart is full of love for anybody that is in that profession because it's just amazing what most of them do. We have not spent time talking about how horrific these experiences can also be and how bad a bad version of it is. I'm not going to name any names, but my experience in there was very traumatic. It was horrible, and I mean I didn't see the doctor's face once. I mean, it started with them. We did laughing gas because of my anxiety, and they put this thing on my nose, right? And he's like, if it gets too much, just take big breaths through your mouth, because the thing was on my nose. So after he tells me that, then he stuffs all this gauze in my mouth and tells me to bite down.
What a jerk.
So then, about 3 minutes later, I'm like, all right, this is a little much. I'll breathe, but I couldn't breathe through my mouth. I couldn't explain. I couldn't ask for. I couldn't ask what to do because I got all this stuff in my mouth. But so then I'm laying there, and eventually, like, the doctor comes in from my back right, and they just start, and they puts this thing to hold my mouth pried open, and then they just start. He just starts talking to his staff about this guy that came in with the biggest lesion he'd ever seen. I haven't even seen his face yet. Meanwhile, he starts drilling into my mouth, and then I mean, what would have been really nice is some connection with me, and then like some explanation of what was happening.
Right.
Like the next thing I know, he's like ratcheting like he's screwing this thing, but nothing like, okay, we're about to. I would have loved to have seen it. Like, we're about to put this in. I'm going to attach it with screws, and like just checking in with me, explaining to me what's happening to me. I felt like I was on an assembly line. I felt like I wasn't there. They were having this weird conversation about this person that had come in on referral with the biggest lesion he'd ever seen. Like, they're having this horrible conversation about this other patient that came in with this big lesion. I don't even know what that is. I know what I pictured in my head at the time. But I mean, and then the guy disappears, and then they're like, the other guy was like, all right, we're going to take you for an x-ray or whatever. They put me in the x-ray, and then they were pushing me out the door. They never even told me how it went.
No,
I was on the way out the door. I was like, did everything go okay? Like, I mean, it was very, very traumatic.
Were you in a dentist chair, or like laying down on a?
Yeah, laying back in a chair.
Wow.
With a thing on my pried over.
Yeah, most of the time they give you some like this. Couple more minutes, we'll be wrapping this up, or
It would have been so nice just to have been walked through what was happening to me.
Did
just
he
like
even say good morning or anything?
he did. Yeah, when he came in from the back right, he was like, "Hey, Nathan."
Oh, okay.
Her. And then just and then just and then he left, and then the guy took me to the x-ray room, and then he just ushered me out the door, and on the way out the door I was like, well, did it go okay? It's like, oh yeah.
We're not allowed to tell you. You'll know that in 3 to 7 days.
I was the whole thing was just so.
Was this in Stan?
I mean, because I already have anxiety about this kind of stuff, and so I mean, I'm just really, I'm just trying. It's just such a crazy mindset or whatever. Like I guess at first they had to numb me really good. So he's like, all right, sharp jab, little jab, whatever, and then he disappears because he has to wait like 10 minutes for me to get completely numb. I don't know. The whole thing was, the best word for it is traumatic.
Well, it's all over now.
I hope. I keep on. I've read this like 20 times because the thing I definitely don't want to do is anything wrong now that would make it not work, because I'm pretty sure that if I mess this up, I have to go back, not just to square one, but they'd have to remove the. I don't even know like what that would be.
All right.
Anybody want to share traumatic medical
horror stories?
No, I don't think I want to try to even top you on that. I think we'll just let that one be the shining example of how you don't treat human beings when you deal with them on a level like that. What you needed was someone I'm not saying the surgeon did anything wrong, because what I see the surgeon, like when I have my paracentesis, the nurses talk to me and get me ready and everything, and he comes in, and he's a nice guy and everything, but he's there for about 2 minutes and he inserts it. But in other words, a doctor has to do it,
Right.
but it's no big deal, and he doesn't work. But it's just like putting air in a tire. It's just nothing to him. So he just does it and leaves. Now he's a nice guy, and I talk to him, but he doesn't have to. Sometimes he's busy and he just goes and does that and goes. So I didn't worry. I didn't feel that bad. But you didn't have anybody there. You didn't have a support system at all, and you were isolated, and that was the worst part of what I.
We got off on a wrong foot too, because every other time Cather had been able to go in there with me, and her presence was so powerful. And this time, for some reason, they were just like, "No, you stay here." And so we were severed right at the beginning without any explanation.
See, that makes a big difference in the whole thing.
And so immediately I was like, "Okay, this is weird." I felt weird going into it, and then everything just got, and there was. Then they were like, after the lesion conversation, they started talking about golf, and his brother won a golf tournament or something like that. And there was a moment I had during it where I was like, okay, I could see how this could be sort of comforting, because as long as they keep talking about this golf, nothing must be going horribly wrong with me.
That's very logical.
Like if they ever, if the gate of their conversation had ever like changed or like
Fuck that golf game.
That's not right. Like I was like,
oh shit.
Long pause. Everybody's like looking at each other. He's like, what was I talking about again?
yeah, and then they were on the back.
Someone go
eight,
get
and
Cather quick.
Yeah, like if the conversation had suddenly stopped in any awkward way, it was sort of a gauge, and to a certain extent. I was like, okay, they're just talking about golf.
All right. Well, first of all, he's not expecting you to converse with him because he stuck your mouth full of golf.
Right,
and so he's not expecting you to do anything but listen. But he's also knows that you've got a head full of nitrous oxide. So if you say anything, it's going to be silly anyway. And he thinks you're not listening. He's just misinformed that he thinks you're out there laughing and giggling at things like people under laughing gas often do. Which obviously you didn't get much laughter out of the laughing gas.
I don't think I ever felt the effects. I'm not convinced there was anything.
Yeah, I think
in
you just got a bad gas.
I think I got a dud. I think I was in the placebo group. I think I was in the control group.
But I don't think they were aware that you were even paying any attention.
I mean, there were moments where I was really trying to feel it. I was breathing in deep through the nose. I was like, "Give me this."
Well, you might have been OD'd and didn't know it.
Not feeling it at all.
Catherine was sitting out in the waiting room with a reel and going, you're about to go with the placebo. She's just
You can't
calm.
tell anyone because you're not. It's not like you could have told anyone. Like, I don't think this is working. Like I'm still totally aware. You guys are talking about stuff like I'm not even here. I can hear all this, and it's really weird. But you couldn't say anything.
The nurse before it was trying to. I was like, well, what's the laughing gas do? What's it like, or whatever? And he was like, well, like, do you drink? I was like, yeah, I drink. And he's like, well, what do you like to drink? I was like, whiskey. And he's like, well, that like second glass of whiskey when you start feeling loose or whatever. And it's like, it's like that. And then like 5 minutes later, he was like, do you smoke pot? And I was like, well, yeah. And he was like, you know how like the it's like that.
You ever shoot the old hair on me?
Yeah.
I was like,
how far does this go?
I'm not.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
You like to kiss boys? You mind if I undo your belt?
Oh my God.
Tell me about that lady you saw in the lingerie.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that he's done any of this stuff. I feel like you are onto something. That it was just
right,
like
come on
anything.
now.
Like, do you like ice cream? Like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried a McDonald's cheeseburger?
It's like that second bite of a McDonald's cheeseburger.
You remember seeing Star Wars for the first time?
All right, now.
Have you ever been to the Gypsy Hill Park pool? You know, when you first dive in, that feeling you get. You ever had to listen to golf stories you didn't care about?
Oh, God.
Oh, wow.
This is a lost cause, I think.
You know, the thing
I think we're in a little trouble here tonight. I've often thought what would happen if Kyle completely lost it, and I think we're getting ready to see it.
The first time you saw
I'm a little worried. You're going to tell you another one. You just thought of another one. You've got to say it.
I am
He's
going
got to
back to
say
the
it.
first time you ever saw Star Wars. I just hope your mic was on for that. Holy moly.
Oh, my God.
The thing I actually asked.
Somebody's got one
You
here.
remember the first time you saw a woman in lingerie? Oh my God. Good night, y'all. We love you. See you next week.
I had
I
a,
don't think he's. Well, the funny part is, I was laughing at that. He says, I don't think he's done it.
What? He can't say it.
And we were laughing, making a face, and he goes, I don't think he's done any of this because it's having no effect on me.
I mean, no matter what, if he had just stayed with the whiskey, it would have been one thing. But then he threw in this other completely different experience. Like you just equated it to two radically different vibes. Like my second glass of whiskey is way different than smoking a joint. I mean, that already you're just like, wait, what are you doing? Like, what is? I don't even understand.
You ever got to 100 miles an hour on the interstate?
The thing I think is strange, I even had to ask ChatGPT about it because I was like, what is laughing gas? And they were like, oh, it's nitrous oxide. And I was like, isn't that what like the hippies do in the fish parking lot? And at like a fish parking lot, you'll find people selling balloons full of nitrous oxide. But I've tried it, and that is like, yeah, you take like a hit of it, and it's like this wah, 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 for like 30 seconds, or like it's not used the way that they're using it in a dental office. And the way the hippies do it, you take a hit and the world like gets a little wobbly for like 30 seconds and then it's gone.
Well, maybe since they're giving you a constant.
But it must be
supply.
the constant flow of it's a whole different thing.
I'm not sure it's doing anything but cutting off oxygen to certain parts of your brain.
That's what it feels like the way people do it, like the way the hippies
So
do it.
if he was giving you enough of it, then he wasn't thinking your brain was doing a whole lot. So he was talking about whatever he was talking about and not thinking you were paying any attention.
Yeah.
Now, was it painful at all, or just the thought of it, just the force of your head being moved around?
You had already had Novocaine?
Yeah, they put after I was under the influence of my placebo gas,
Oxygen.
My oxygen, under the influence of oxygen, they did the Novocaine thing. It was probably like 4 shots in different parts of my face. There's always that fear whenever I always get home and like 3 hours later your face is still hanging off of your skull or whatever, and it's like, what if that never goes back? I'm just like, you just sit there thinking like, oh God, what if it never comes back? Like, could I sing? Like, what's my new?
And
And
what they
there's
do with-
there's
what
so
they-
much confusing about the marching orders. Like I can't drink through a straw for 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
Why?
Exactly. Well, because of some negative pressure, there's like a blood clots or whatever that have to form. Why is a great question. But then I don't know, like, last night on the practice is like, I guess I don't play harmonica
Yeah.
because, like, one of the first things was don't spit for 12 hours. Don't spit. Why? It's the why that haunts you. You're
Yeah.
like, well, gosh.
You try not to sneeze.
I set an alarm for 12 hours and 1 minute. And then,
I mean, on this end. Oh,
so I just for the next 2 to 3 months, I'm going to be a little bit confused. Just a little bit of a mess.
so you can start eating hard food again.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've eaten a lot of mashed potatoes in the last 48 hours. Mashed potatoes and Jello. But I guess like I'm starting to enter. Since nothing is weird at the moment, I guess I'm sort of good, right?
Yeah.
Just eat on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're fine.
Thanks.
Notice the gap, like it's like 6 inches long. Does it feel huge?
I haven't I'm not probing it with my tongue or anything. I finally got up the nerve last night to look at it, but only for a second.
All right, you want to change the subject?
I'd love to.
I want to tell a story real quick. It happened this afternoon. While I remember it, I was watching a baseball game, which I like to do on an afternoon because they have ball games on a lot of days, and I enjoy having one on in the background while I'm doing all my work. And so I had on the ball game, and there's San Diego Padres were playing this afternoon. And I made that a fantasy team based on that ball game. That's what I do, and that's one reason to watch the ball game. And one of the players that I was put on my team played for San Diego as a first baseman, and his name was Gavin Sheets. Now, does that ring any
Larry
bells?
Sheets.
There you go. Very good. And the reason I put him on my team was because Gavin is the son of Larry Sheets.
Oh, he's the son?
He's Larry Sheets' son, and Larry was a Stanton boy. He was probably our best baseball player. We had Jerry May, of course, but he was out there at North River, but he would count him as a
Did
Stanton
you
boy
teach
too.
Larry Sheets or coach?
That's what I was going to say. Part of the story is that I knew Larry before he he played Major League Ball. I have his baseball card.
Who did he
and
play for? Baltimore?
Played for Baltimore almost his entire career. So he had a good career with Baltimore. He's a good left-handed hitter. Played first base and DH'd. And so Gavin, his son, is in his about third year in the pros, and he's made it to the San Diego team. So he's batting right up there with Machado and all those guys, and it's really cool. And I've watched him before, and he's having a pretty good year. So he came up with nothing to nothing in the fourth inning. As I said, I had him on my team, and sure enough, it was nothing to nothing. And San Diego hadn't scored in forever, in like 3 or 4 games, and he unleashed one into the upper deck.
Oh,
second.
yeah.
So, and then later on, I think he got 3 hits during the game, but he was the star of the game, and it just made me it just felt so good. I mean, the only reason I had him on my team was because of Larry.
Right.
And so I taught Larry in 9th grade.
Wow.
And
Was that would have been earth science? Then,
that would have
right?
been Earth Science
Wow.
at John Lewis. Larry, and the only story Larry told about Larry used, we would joke around later on when I'd see him, but one of the stories he told was that he was so impressed that you think when I taught 9th grade, I was in my 20s. I was a kid. So I wasn't, I didn't know what I was doing. But he said, I walked in the first day and started talking to him, and they all looked down, and Larry looked down, and I had on tennis shoes that had those rubber things over the top, and I had left right here and write. And then he just thought that was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. As a school teacher had his shoes.
What was
wet.
that all about?
I just probably was trying to make sure I got them right.
It wasn't
was
your
a
sense
joke.
of humor that did that.
It
It was
was- it
actual pragmatism.
It was a, yeah, exactly. One of the above. It was a joke to myself, but I didn't expect to be wearing those tennis shoes in front of a classroom of kids. I just forgot about them. You know, I just got up one day and I didn't wear my. In other words, I didn't wear my regular shoes. I just wore what I had on when I got up late. Because I was, you know.
Isn't that fun? Isn't that funny how that
But
was
that's what
an
he remembered.
indelible memory for
All the
him? He'll
stories-
never forget that.
All the teaching I did, all the great lectures, and that's what they remember, left and right.
That's so funny.
But now what I remember about Larry was down there at that Little League park in Gypsy Hill Park, of him in that the same field they use up at the upper end, up at the higher field. He was a little left-handed kid in the junior league, the midget league. He was like 9 years old, and he hit one over over the over the road, over Churchville Avenue,
Oh,
not
my
over the
goodness.
fence, over the road and over the fence in front of the road and into the woods up on the other side.
Amazing.
He's like 9 years old.
That's a couple 100 feet.
Oh, it was crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was, but it was really fun. If y'all know any baseball, to keep it up with Gavin, and
That's very cool.
he looked like a great kid, and yet he was so happy hitting that home run. It just made you, because you could see Larry in the boy's face, you know. So that's my story. I wanted to
That's
tell.
cool.
But he's definitely a Stanton boy, or his daddy was a Stanton boy.
He doesn't live here still, right?
No, I think he lives up in Baltimore. Yeah, good kids.
Good story. I was having flashbacks on just that chance that you had of maybe hitting a car going down Churchville Avenue from that ballpark where we played baseball. It was almost a dream, like claim to fame. Didn't happen very often.
No,
What I wanted to say that I wrote down so I wouldn't forget. I listened to an album for the entire album for the very first time, I think Monday. And then Tuesday I read that it's his 40th anniversary. So
Who?
I'm like,
Who are you talking about?
well, that's what I'm going to tell you. So this album's been out forever. I wanted to see what y'all think about
I
it.
see.
Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms.
Oh yeah, great album.
How come I've never listened to the whole thing till Monday?
That's the one with Money for Nothing. On
It's
it,
got
right?
like the first 3 songs are like, you know,
And all the ones that aren't hits are great songs.
almost even better.
There's not a miss on the whole
no.
album.
Well, that's what they sound better because you don't know them that well.
Yeah.
I don't think I probably even heard them because I never listened to the whole album. But do you remember when that album came out?
no. It was after my time.
85? That's not after your time.
Well, you know, I was busy. I wasn't listening to as
busy getting
much
his
news.
shoes on, right?
Yeah,
You weren't as voracious, but you were still getting that Talking Heads record had a big impact on your life around.
oh
that
yeah,
time.
I mean, I liked some of the things that there, but I wasn't searching it out like I was when I was younger, like you are now.
It took me a long time to appreciate like the production that the 80s has. There's like a sound a lot of artists, producers, whatever whoever was responsible, it all has this kind of production sound that I didn't think I liked for a long time, and only recently I've come to appreciate it more. Like I could listen to Talking Heads a lot more than this Dire Straits album because of the production, probably, because they're, for as good as those songs are, there's some cheesy 80s stuff going on too. So
Well, I was reading
Yeah, it was
about
like the advent of the synthesizer, like the big day of drum machines and synthesizers and stuff.
Well, I was reading about his 40th anniversary. They said that was the first time they were recorded to digital. And that when they were like halfway done, like something happened to the digital stuff. Like 70% of what they recorded was erased, and they had to go back and do it all over again.
Apparently that is the album with Money for Nothing, right? Apparently the little story there was like that the studio where that record was made was there was this famous like LA record producer that decided he wanted to create like a dream studio in the Caribbean.
Right.
And so he found this cool spot like with, you know, it's like white sand beaches and stuff like that. And it was like a destination spot for famous people to go, we're going to go to this exotic island and make this record. And the record before Brothers in Arms was the Police album. It might have been Synchronicity, like one of their big ones. And Sting just decided after the record was done to spend a couple extra weeks down there just on the beaches and relaxing. And just that's why he appears on that track.
His voice
I
is
want my MTV. But it wasn't like some big vision that they had, and we got to fly Sting in. He just happened to stay a couple extra weeks late, and now it's like iconic.
Sing that part again.
I want my MTV.
Better with reverb.
Well, it's so funny. It's like I hadn't listened to those songs in probably like 30 years, but as soon as his voice comes in, it's not even like who's that? It's like, oh, there's Sting singing. Like you just know who it is as soon as it breaks into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's iconic, and it's still like the little. Because for some reason MTV still exists. Like some of the shows or movies we watch are brought to us by MTV.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, just like they've morphed so many times. It's the history of MTV is so fascinating. Because first they like ruined music forever by video killing the radio star or whatever. Like they brought us the music video, and that was like my whole youth. And then when that stopped paying the bills, they invented reality television, and they stopped being a music channel and it was just like reality TV, which changed the next generation's youth forever. And now they just like produce weird series and movies and stuff. It's still, I feel like 1923 or something that we just watched starts with, I want my MTV, with the logo popping up. I'm like, oh, wow. It's just such an interesting evolution of that business.
Yeah, it's funny. I was wearing an MTV button to work a week or two ago, and our receptionist is like 23 years old. She goes, oh, I remember people talking about MTV. She didn't even remember MTV. She's like, I remember people talking about it.
People talking about it.
And then another woman came and said, oh, I used to love MTV. I think she's probably in her 40s. She goes, man, they had the best shows, The Real World. Like, none of them even, you know, like us, we think of music videos. They didn't even mention music videos.
It was so revolutionary when it came out. I was there day one. Yep. And it was everything. And in the early days, it was so amazing because they really were scrambling for video. Yeah. They needed video. They needed content. So like the stuff that was on there the first couple of years was just so interesting, and it was such an opportunity. Some people like really seized it. Like Tom Petty crushed it. Like a lot of people like became relevant again because of a cool video, or a lot of bands made it because of a cool video, and it was just a whole amazing thing, and I watched it all the time. It was
Michael Jackson, really.
Michael Jackson, yeah.
Crazy.
Remember when Thriller, I mean, there was such a build up to that, to the release of that, and it was the first music video that was like a little mini movie. It had the whole, it was, what a time.
I remember they used to have like every once in a while, be like Friday at 11, the world premiere of like be some video. You'd be like over some friend's house. We gotta watch this video. You didn't even care if you liked the band or not. You just had to see what all the talk was about.
Your twisted sister.
I feel like we've done this trivia question before, but just because we're here, what was the first video ever played on MTV?
You already gave it away.
I know, but they might not know that.
Were y'all paying attention?
Yes.
No idea?
I don't remember.
It wasn't Dire Straits.
Nope. But Dire Straits did become relevant again because of MTV.
The Buggles did it.
The song we were just talking about did it. But yeah, it was Video Killed the Radio Star. I mean, they were that prescient and prophetic with the first video ever played on the show. It was Video Killed the Radio Star.
Yeah, I never
And
heard
it
this-
is true, like if you think about the impact of it, because if you look at so many artists before MTV and all that stuff were not easy on the eyes. A lot of our favorite songs and musicians were not easy on the eyes. The way they looked had nothing to do with their success.
Yeah, they weren't even good video actors or whatever. Like, and they might have tried, but they just weren't that great at it.
Mm-hmm.
So the videos are actually really cheesy, but it's all we had, I think, and no one else had done it before, so it was just cool. And no matter what, it was cool.
But after like 5 years of MTV, like every pop star was suddenly very good looking. That was my point, really.
That became the focus.
That
right?
became the
Right.
it became important. Before that, it wasn't that important. Roy Orbison, if you could sing like Roy Orbison, you were in. But after MTV, if you looked like Roy Orbison, you were not in. I don't care how good you can sing. It was pretty fascinating, profound
Unless
impact.
you got in with the Traveling Wilburys.
Right. Unless you already were Roy Orbison.
Put him in there with some other guys. We'll get him on there.
I just
Roy,
realized.
is that you?
I just realized why I never made it in the music industry.
Well, you had a great club career.
I was doing all right there in radio. Of course, I was just doing commercials,
Hard to cross over.
Geritol commercials, but I was good at it.
Just
soon-
imagine, like, back in the day when, like, Hank Williams was doing, like, what was it, Flour Biscuit Hour or whatever? Like, you had to sit around your radio just, you know, listening to, like, a show, almost like a TV show. It was just, like, him singing songs. and
Imagining
stuff.
what it looked like.
Yeah.
You know?
But it was so powerful how
yeah.
it sparked the imagination.
Was that what it's called? Radio Biscuit Hour? What was it?
I don't remember.
I've got a CD of all those shows. They announced the stupid biscuit thing like between every song.
You know, to Nathan's Roy Orbison point about, you know, how they started caring about it and going, speaking of the Traveling Wilburys, their one and only video doesn't have Roy Orbison in it.
Oh, really?
Because
There was
Dang.
he died right
he had
before.
already passed
They're-
away.
Yeah, they're all on like a boxcar train, and there's a picture of Roy Orbison sitting on the barrel.
You
in
were just
between
too
all
you were
of
too
them.
ugly, Roy. They
I
killed
mean, it's
you.
almost like MTV called and said, okay, you can make that video now.
Did y'all see Roy die? Get the rest of those guys. Get him to make a video.
Right.
We can edit him out now.
That was a big record for you back in the 80s. I remember you loving that.
Which one?
Traveling Wilburys.
I loved them, yeah.
But
Yep.
it's all right.
I was amazed at the way that they got together and created all those different songs.
It was so good
It
too.
just made you feel good about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved all of them separately, so you put them all together. And when you put them all together, you don't expect it to be that good, but it was different. It was creative and had a little bit of Bob and a little bit of, you know, everybody was there.
You could really tell they were having fun.
Yeah.
There's something so palpable about the joy they brought each other and how it translated into the music.
There's no doubt about it. You can feel that in the songs.
It's so funny. Like when I was what year was that?
I don't do years.
Like 80. So I was in my 20s, and they all seemed like established old men. Like this is what just like
Well,
that's
they
my
were all
parents'
mature.
Well, the thing, but I read somewhere they were all like in their 40s.
Right.
But when you're a kid, they're like, God, these guys have been around since the first rock and
Like
roll
they're
record
ancient.
ever. Yeah. Like,
Right. Yeah, I mean,
how are
they-
they still doing it? They're 40 years old.
Yeah, it's all relative, isn't it?
That's crazy. You look at it, I listen to it now. Like, what are these young kids doing out there with rock and roll music?
Yeah, I might have to listen to some Traveling Wilburys when I get home.
It holds up. It's still
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's still amazing. Did they do a volume 2?
I'm sure they did. Yeah,
It wasn't. It didn't have the hits on it. I guess that the
I don't know. It
first
was.
one did.
I'm sure it was still good though, because I don't have a bad memory. But you're right. I don't remember it, but I know they did too. I'm pretty sure they did too.
So what did you want that whiteboard for?
Hey.
Oh, Kyle had a question earlier in the week. He thought,
All right.
like the earth science teacher could address. So
I'm
I
going to
thought,
reiterate that.
Well, today, I'll tell you, when I woke up this morning, it was like 5:45, bright as day. I was like, what in the world? All right, we went out to this little lake around here, and we were just laying there. First, I was trying to figure out how long it took the cloud to go from one set of trees to the other. I was like, I wonder if there's a way to, are clouds going like 100 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour? What are they doing? Do you have any clue? Or is that for another day?
Probably depends on the wind speed.
But so I was thinking, I basically understand how time, like why is it light at 8 o'clock now and dark at 5 o'clock in the winter?
right.
I have a basic knowledge of it, but I can't. I thought maybe you could explain it like a traveling Wilbury would.
What's your basic understanding of it?
Oh, the way the Earth's tilted and stuff. I think that's what it is, isn't it?
Tilted. The Earth is tilted.
Well, the way it's.
What do you mean by that?
The
Relative to
way it's
what?
spinning with the sun and the clouds and the trees.
So like the North Pole and the South Pole being the
They
top and
reverse.
bottom, and relative to the sun, it's tilted.
Well, in the wintertime, the poles are at the equator, I think. Aren't they?
That would be
That-
wild. That would be something else. That
Here
would
we
be
go.
Crazy, yeah.
That's
Here
like,
we go.
do you like to drink?
You remember that?
You know how it feels when the poles align with the equator?
You remember when you
That's
get drinking
nice
that
to
whole
talk
bottle
about.
of whiskey and you get that last shot?
When, you know when the North Pole hits Florida?
You know when somebody gives you that good bag of weed and you're at home alone, you smoke that whole thing down. You're just ordering food from everywhere. Deliver, I don't care how much it is.
Oh my
It's
God.
still dark outside. I can't believe it. No, it's like such a. But why? I mean, I usually don't get up at 5:45 in the morning, but I did. It was just bright, sunny. I drove with no headlights on or anything.
And the other thing that's weird is that I just saw that when we go out, it doesn't get dark till 8:30. The sun doesn't go down till 8:28 today. That's
It's
crazy.
amazing. Yeah,
So
that's
how do you
crazy.
explain all that?
Well,
Was my answer not right?
the way.
Oh,
Now, I'll tell you, this is the way I would, if I was going to give the explanation. I'm going to explain three different things,
Okay.
and they all make sense in the same way, and that is the length of the day, which is what we're talking about, but not the length of the day, but the sequence of a day, the length of a day, and then the seasonal thing that you're talking about, why in the summertime it's warmer and in the wintertime it's cooler. And then the other one, but the easiest way to explain it, I think, is just think about your shadow when you're walking, because the whole thing is explained by direct and indirect radiation. So if I think of direct radiation, I'm just looking at say a source of like a flashlight over here, or the sun, shooting light out. So if I take my flashlight, the light's going out in all directions. But if I take a little cone and put that on there, so I was going to get you to get a ball and a flashlight and a cone. When I put the cone on, that light can't get out except through the cone. So it's all the light from that light is directed into this little area right here.
Pinpoint.
And so it's all hitting at once. So that's lunchtime. The sun is right overhead and it's shooting down direct radiation. So that's whenever that happens to you in your part of the world, that's when you experience the warmth of the height of the warmth. Of course, it gets warmer because the heat is, as it keeps going down, it even gets warmer because you've already heated it and now you're heating it some more. But then as you get the indirect ray, well, it's the same way with your shadow. When you're shooting down, your shadow can even disappear because there's no, but if the sun's over here, it hits at an angle, then your shadow, your body gets in the way of some of those rays, and that's called a shadow. So if the sun's down here, your shadow is going to get longer. So that's why your shadow changes during the day. Well, the same is true with the planet. In the morning, as our ball turns toward the sun, the radiation hits it directly in that area, and then as it turns during the day, it starts getting indirect radiation, but still getting radiation. Where on the other side, it's nighttime, because you're not getting any radiation at all, except when you got up at 5 o'clock, the sun's not up, but you can still see some light because some of that light is reflecting down off of you. It's shooting by. Some of it's hitting the light in the air and bouncing down. So that's pre-dawn, and then the sun comes up. But then on a seasonal basis, the same thing's happening as you're traveling around the sun, and that's where you get your tilt of axis. The Earth, if the North Pole was here and here, our North Pole is 23.5 degrees tilted. So what that does is give you, if you're moving away from the sun, this bottom part of the planet is getting more direct radiation, and up here is getting indirect radiation. So this is winter and this is summer. So that's why you have different seasons in different hemispheres.
It's amazing that it's that substantial
Yeah.
enough to create a whole different season.
Yeah, because that's a lot of direct and indirect, and it's a big, and of course then the energy's moving around.
So our orbit around the sun is an oblong thing, not like a perfect circle. If it was a perfect circle, our season would stay the same.
The seasons would not stay the same, because you'd still be going away and toward, but it would be at a different time. It'd be more equal time. So that would be, yeah.
If it was a perfect circle, you'd still be going away and from?
I guess you would. I guess you could argue that you're saying the same distance each. I have to think about that. Does that make sense? I think you might be right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess it would be the same. So it's when you're going, you have, but it's when you're. Yeah, I think it would be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've never actually really thought about, and it's something I'd known, but I've never really sat and just thought about it, but how like the Earth is spinning on its axis, and night is just when you're facing away from the sun. For some reason, it just blows my mind now. Like, it's not like I didn't know that, but I feel like I've never thought about it before or something.
Yeah, the sun's not moving across our sky.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And you're really just facing away from it, and you're just looking out into space now instead of at the sun.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I see the stars. I've thought about it in some new way that's blowing my mind right now. I'm just like, oh, wow.
You're in the sun.
You're just like, if I just like turn this way and like, stars and night, because the light is on my back. And
And
I
guess what stars are? Basically suns.
Right.
Well, the weird thing, I mean, I might have just thought this for the first time. And I know exactly what you're saying is the truth. We're rotating. But I always just thought, now that the sun's not there, I can see the stars that were always right in front of me. Actually, they weren't there because I'm facing the other way. God, now I'm really getting freaked out. I thought the sun just went down, and so the stars that I couldn't see because of the sun were now...
Well, some
God,
of them
I must believe the
would
suns.
overlap. Yeah, up here you'd still see the same ones. There's still that pattern in the sky. It's just all the way around, not just on one side.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're living in the southern hemisphere, you have a whole different set of constellations you've learned. It's not like ours at all. Excuse me.
Well, that is.
And, the seasons are different. Like where Grayson's at right now in Lima, they're going into winter.
Which is, that to me is just mind-blowing, that tilt is enough to create different seasons in the different hemispheres.
So we're tilted.
That doesn't make any sense to me, because we're all on the same planet. I was thinking that we were on an oblong orbit around the sun. So when you're at the farthest away from the sun, that's winter. But that can't be true if it's winter now in
No,
Peru.
it's not the distance.
Yep.
It's the angle.
The tilt.
It's the tilt and the angle.
Yeah.
know.
Because that tilt, right? Am I right, Steve? That if this is the sun, that tilt, like, it doesn't like orient itself
No.
to the sun. Okay. So if it's like this here, it goes like that.
Oh.
There you
around the
go. That's
sun.
it.
Like if that's the sun, it's going like.
Oh, you should do that on camera.
Well,
All right,
somebody can do it.
I can try to
Kyle, you know
mimic
the
what he's
dance.
doing. This is the sun. This is the tilt of the earth. It doesn't orient like that. It doesn't stay like that. It goes like this.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I wasn't explaining very well.
That's good. Man.
That's where I needed the basketball.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
flashlight.
Yeah.
It's something else very old and nature-wise. I went to Grand Caverns last weekend. I had no interest in going. I thought my family was in town. I was going just to be bored. Totally, my brain was like yours.
It's cool.
It is crazy down there.
Oh, the caverns?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you, Lucy and I went one time and they did it like a haunted house. It
Ah.
was, it was for Halloween, a haunted cavern thing.
They show movies and stuff down there.
Oh,
they
really?
said,
Oh,
yeah.
that's-
Yeah, they have music down there.
Yeah. I mean, just they're telling you how old that stuff is and how many hundreds of thousands of years it makes for something to drop down. It's like, good grief. It's just crazy. Ugh.
You're really getting out exploring the
I know,
universe.
man.
I like
My
it.
brain is being expanded.
Yeah, it's very good for you.
He was at my show Saturday.
Oh,
I know. I
It-
heard.
y'all missed it. If you weren't there, you missed it.
Yeah, tell us.
That was a it's been a very exciting thing in these parts because of my daily practice for the first time in the year since I started it had a show that we were practicing for. So it became like a whole collective effort to sculpt the set list, and I was practicing it every night on YouTube, and like the set that I played that you saw would never have been the same without my show because it was really sort of a group effort, it's given the show such direction and purpose. It was fun to have that, and like people trying, like Carl one night was like, I really think Used to Be a Ramblin' Man should be in there. I'm like, all right, well, let's stick it in there. And like, just him saying that, like, shaped so much of the banter, the rest of the songs. Like the input that I had from people watching the practice and participating, like, was such a big part of what manifested that night. And then I filmed it with my GoPro and then got to share the results 2 nights ago on the daily practice. So the people that helped create the set list got to see that's become my whole new thing, is that now we're preparing for High Sierra that's coming up. And then I think after that, I'm going to do my first hometown show in a long time and just keep this thing going. But I'm curious, just your if you were to review if you had a show
Well,
where you
before I forget,
Siskel and Ebert that
we
thing.
were just talking about the sun. You should do your sun song as your closing song tonight. The sunlight.
Oh, I have sung that before,
Yeah,
but I guess
well,
that doesn't matter.
Well, it was because that's when Stephanie was looking at me. She's like, "Are you crying?" I mean, the way you
Oh.
were singing it, I wasn't crying out of like sadness, right? It was just beautiful happiness. I was like, she was like looking at me, and she goes, "I think he's done this on the show." Like, trying to act like, yeah. It's just, I mean, you come out there, it's just. First of all, you had everybody confused because they said, all right, everybody go get a drink. And you just come out and sit down and start playing. And everybody's like, oh, what do we do? And then the Howdy Show guy comes out. It's like, whoa, wait, you're supposed to stop. You're like, oh, yeah, he told me not to play yet, but I didn't want y'all just hanging out doing nothing. He's like, I wanted to hear all the songs.
Well, it's really, I was sound checking because I hadn't sound checked yet. So like, you have to make sure the guitar is working and the mic's working
Right.
and the mix is good for you. You have to do all those things. And it can be sort of awkward to do that in front of people.
Right.
On the other hand, it can be sort of like a secret weapon for getting comfortable, because it's sort of it's like going up to the free throw line and getting a practice one first. It's almost as if the referee gives you a freebie, or like that play where the whistle's called, so you're like, oh well, if we can do anything, because if we mess it up, it gets called back anyways. So the sound check can be a real nice opportunity psychologically to adjust to the room and sneak in a humdinger. Like,
but it was a very the people that were there. There was not a people just like walking around talking, and everybody there was like totally into it and
listening
singing
room vibes.
and what you were singing along with you and laughing. And I mean, I was telling you when you were doing on the harmonica and you reached like one point, like you just like lost your breath or something. You just stopped and started smiling. Everybody's like, "At least he tried." Then you went back right into it. Like everybody's like, "Ah!" Like it was just like, you know, it was like so that you were just sort of like laughing, like, "Well, I gave it my best shot. Let me just catch my breath, then we'll go back into it." It was like so cool and so fun.
Well, I thought you used a really good brand of the canned laughter.
Yeah, right.
The applause is much better than what we got here. People were enthusiastic.
Did you see it on the YouTube?
Yeah, I watched
Oh,
it.
cool.
Actually, I listened to it in the dark last night about 3
works.
o'clock in the morning. I couldn't really see it on the phone, and I've seen you before.
Wasn't
Anyway,
much
to be
to look
honest
at.
with you, I think I know what you look like.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you're wearing a better outfit than that.
Not much.
No, I didn't expect you to go all out on that.
But I thought it was very nice too. It's like you. I mean, I think if you had done it, I think they would just kept you having play you song after song after song, because everybody got like an encore and everybody got a nice round of applause. And then Nathan, gets a round of applause as soon as he does that song. One more. Nathan was sort of like looking like, no, I'm not going to do it. But then he invited everybody else up on, not the stage, but whatever it was. They did a Dylan song, Birds song, and that was so sweet to have everybody.
What was it? What was the song?
Ooh, you ride me high.
Oh God, I can't think of the name of it now.
Down in my easy chair. What's that song actually called?
Oh my God. Oh God, me and Stephanie have been listening to it all weekend, and she looked it up, and I can't remember what it's called. Oh my God! But that was nice to have everybody come up. And now, how did y'all decide? Did he decide on that, or?
Mm-hmm. That was just an audible in the moment.
And then they're singing, they sound great, and they're like, somebody else take the next chorus. And this dude in the back busts out the most beautiful voice in the world. I was like, who the heck
Caleb
is that?
Stein.
And he like belted out that stuff.
I came home that night, and I'd met him once before, and then met him that night, and I was just intrigued, and so I went down the rabbit hole of his songs, and he's really good.
Oh, he's a local
I'm
performer.
a fan. Yeah, he's at
Who is it?
Harrisonburg. Caleb Stein.
I mean, man.
He's good. He's got some great songs.
Cool.
It was just unexpected. You're like expecting to hear some drunk guy in the back. Like, all of a sudden, it's like something just popped my wig off. Where's that coming from?
The next one that Howdy Shell's doing, I'm going to be doing that too, is a Dylan tribute at the Court Square Theater in September. So that could be fun. It's fun dipping my toe into the little Harrisonburg scene. It's good to get out there and play some. I was talking to them that night. I was, like, it's always been a little bit. It's so strange for me to play Stanton. It's just a lot. There's just too many variables. It's a little bit surreal. Like there's so many ways I could talk about that, but it's just the difference between like spending a lifetime out in the world, out west or whatever, just complete unknown variable, just trying to make your way, trying to turn heads, trying to write these songs and make a name for yourself and get people to notice you and stuff. And then you come back and you play a hometown gig, and all of a sudden this is all these people that think they know you from before any of that. And you're not, it's just like such a different calculus or whatever. It's such a different energy with a million variations therein.
So what did you think of the vibe up there?
To like move to Austin, Texas, and like try to get people to notice you is like so different than playing your hometown and trying to get people to change their idea of
Right.
you. It's like it's so fascinating.
Well, you know, I'm going to have to say that, you know, I understand exactly what you're saying. I have felt it at different times in your career, but, you know, Stanton's not the same as it used to be.
Mm-mm.
And those people that think they know you, that went to school with you or taught you, they aren't really around that much anymore.
I'm starting to notice that. I'm starting to see the potential there.
and exactly, and the new people in town are ready to judge you on your qualities, not what they think they knew you in the third grade when you were a jerk. And,
Right.
you know, they all have their views of you, but I don't think that's really that true anymore. If you really went out and played in Stanton, because those people that we're talking about that already know you, they probably won't come. I don't depend on them to watch the show.
Right.
None of my friends watch the show.
Right.
That's not true. I know some of yours, but you know what I mean. You're not playing to that crowd anymore, but in your head you are.
Right.
So that's what I think you need to work on, because you can't work on their heads, but you can work on your own. Because there's a lot of people in the town. I mean, I used to go downtown and go to the food line. I'd know half, 3/4 of the people. And now you'd think I've gotten older, I ought to know more, but there's just not the same people around anymore.
Right. Right.
And for different reasons, people are not going to the food line when I am, that I know anyway.
You know, but you
But there's
know
plenty of
why.
people there.
You found out today why they're not doing it.
What's that?
Why they're not going to food line.
Yeah, oh, good. I've got bad news there.
Oh, what is
What
this?
did I tell you about? They don't sell my pipe tobacco there anymore.
Oh no.
No pipe tobacco.
No pipe
Well, I
at
don't
all?
think they're selling any, but they're not. Mine was not the highest grade because they stopped doing ones periodically that I used to use that I really liked. And then I was down to this one, and what is it, Blackjack or Captain Black? But they're not. They took them. He said they took them off the market. They don't sell them there. Now I don't know if it's that food line and all of them, but I'm running scared. So now I can always.
Well,
I need.
the tobacco shop.
Oh, I'll definitely go there.
They have your Captain Black too.
Yeah,
They
well, I'll
You
definitely-
don't have to
Yeah,
get
I'm
the
not-
fancy stuff.
Yeah, I know that's there, and I will use them. But I just, it's so convenient.
Yeah, I mean, just one-stop shopping
And,
is
So I'm about out, by the way. If anybody's in the neighborhood and
Captain Black.
runs in any,
All right.
I'll pay 1.5 times street value.
But there's a couple different flavors, right?
Well, no, they
You like
have.
the black. Oh, you like the white packet.
I
right?
just get the white pack, but it doesn't really matter.
It's
that much.
confusing.
I like the white black, Captain Black.
Hey, it took me 3 years to remember how to say that. I still get mixed up sometimes. I want a Captain White Black. No, that's not right.
So, what did you think of Sagebird, the cider place? Do you like it?
Well, I didn't really, I didn't try the cider.
Okay.
And I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff anyways, but everybody seemed nice.
Yeah.
I was in I came in through the back and hung out with the musicians and was pacing around outside thinking about my set. One of the funny phenomenons there was I hadn't played in so long, and I wanted to have some good banter, so like I went just pacing around outside trying to think of stuff to say, and it was a complete blank. I was just like, I got nothing. I think I even talked to you during that. I was like, oh hey guys, yeah, I'm just out here trying to think of stuff to say, and I got nothing. And so I was just like, I just told myself, I was like, well, just lean into the songs. It's not that big a deal. Don't even worry about it. It's only a half-hour set. Just sing the songs. But I was still a little sad because that's one of my favorite things. A good troubadour has good banter. Like, it's just one of the hallmarks. But then I got in there and got up there, and it just all started coming out. And I was just like, I was so grateful for that, for my mind or how life works or whatever. I just felt like it all happened.
I thought it was, you did one song, then you started another one, and you started tuning your guitar, and you said, I probably should have done this for the other song.
It was a very generous room, and that every joke seemed to land.
yeah,
It was a very generous room. I didn't have to work too
crowd.
hard for anything I got there. It was a nice little easing back into the idea of playing out.
And we didn't eat before we went, so we looked up their menu, and like this amazing looking sandwiches and paninis and stuff. So we get there, and there's a food truck with a hot dog painted on it. So we're like, that's obviously not it. So we go in, like, where's the food? The woman said, out at the food truck. We're like, man, we don't want hot dogs. So it's one lady working this little food truck thing. Oh my God, delicious food. It was so good. Oh.
I wanted to try that, but I never eat before I play, and they were closed by the time I got done playing. So
It was quite an evening. That was a fun night.
it was a fun night. Thanks for coming.
Oh, so glad we could make it.
Well, we did it again, folks. That was a fun night.
Is it over?
Yep. Yep. 8:26.
I thought you were going to say I wasn't even listening.
No, I just hadn't looked at the clock all night.
It's good to be back with everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Tell the world about our show with Thursdays at 7. Jabber John at your service. Whenever we can do it, we do.
In 2 to 3 months, we'll be eating hard food again.
Oh, I can't wait.
Good to see you.
Your problem is you think as long as you done nothing wrong, you done nothing wrong. That ain't the way the world works round here. You're born where you don't belong. You better beg forgiveness. Better stay strong. You think you can just close your eyes and it all goes away. But he's looking at you and he decides where you go when you go away. You better beg forgiveness. There'll be hell to pay. Just who do you think you are? Floating in the stars on a planet spinning round the sun. And what did you think would happen when you got into your car? You drove it right off into the ocean. Blue sky kid, look what you did. You picked the petals off a flower for love, when it was never either or. It was always all the above. You better beg forgiveness. You better look up. Look at you go in your little rowboat, floating round like life's but a dream. Well, that might be true, but there's too many things that just doesn't mean. You better beg forgiveness. Get down on your knees. Just who do you think you are? Floating in the stars on a planet spinning round the sun. And what did you think would happen when you got into your Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Do good, everybody.
Love ya.
You know, another one of my marching orders, I asked ChatGPT about dental implants and singing or whatever. 3 to 7 days.